Hello and welcome to the video that I'm doing. Lots of you have subscribed and said how useful they are, and I've received 1 or 2 questions about the areas I should do. When I finish the 100 questions, I will do that. And keep watching and keep giving me the feedback. So we are now in the 4th video, and it's 31 to 40 of the 100 B1 questions. And this one is on food test. I already have a video on food test. However, if you don't have access to that video, because then you have the food test here, because what I'm doing with this video is just to put it all in one place. So even though I've done these videos in different places, I'm just putting them together anyway. So just to quickly mention, the food test includes glucose. The test for glucose, you use the Benedict solution, and your outcome or your result should be brick red if glucose is present in the food. For starch, if it contains starch, the food contains starch, if you add iodine solution, the result should be blue-black color change. And to test for protein, you add the Biuret solution, some people call it Biuret solution, and the result should be lilac or light purple color change. Question 32 has to do with why digestion of food is important. This is to break down large food molecules such as starch into simpler forms like glucose that can easily be absorbed across membranes. The major food nutrients that we need, they exist in large molecule forms: carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. All of these need to be broken into smaller pieces for enzymes to work on, and very importantly to be able to move across membranes. There was the importance of bile and hydrochloric acid in digestion. Now, bile is produced by the liver, and it helps to emulsify, to break up lipids into tiny droplets. Thus, lipase has a larger, when it's broken into tiny droplets, the lipase, which is the enzyme that breaks down fats and oils or breaks down lipid, would find a larger surface area to work on. Now, this is just a quick representation. If that's a droplet, bile acts on it, it breaks it down into lipase, droplets which lipase can easily work on. As it works on each droplet, larger surface area, so the breakdown is faster. Bile, by the way, is alkaline, so it also can neutralize the acid in the food which enters the small intestine. Now, food comes from the stomach into the small intestine. The stomach itself is acidic in nature because that's actually the environment that the enzymes in the stomach work best at. They need a low pH, which is acidic, to function perfectly. But when that food comes into the small intestine does not need that kind of acid, so the bile neutralizes the acid, so the food is good for the small intestine. Now, the hydrochloric acid in the stomach itself is useful because it kills harmful bacteria that may have been swallowed along with the food, and the enzymes, like I said before, require that low pH to function best at. Then the question 34 says to quickly name the parts of the heart. I have a full video on the heart, so I'm not going to really go in details. However, you have the top right and left atria. Atrium is only one. You have the lower ventricles. The aorta is the major artery that carries blood away from the heart into the rest of the body. Then you have the vena cava, which is the main vein into the heart. The superior one brings blood into the heart from the upper part of the body, and the inferior one brings blood from the lower part of the body into the heart. So arteries, A for away, take blood away from the heart, and veins bring blood into the heart. Then you have the valves. The valves are very important. They occur between the atrium and the ventricles, and the left ventricle is much more muscular because it has to pump blood at a higher pressure to the farthest part of the body, if that helps anyone to quickly revise that part of the heart. Then the pulmonary artery takes blood to the lungs, and the pulmonary vein brings blood into the heart from the lungs. Now we have the valves. Question 35. It says, what are the functions of valves? Valves are important because they prevent backflow of blood. Blood needs to flow in only one direction, and the valves ensure that happens. This is question 36, which says to label the major part of the lungs and its constituent organs. Now you have the trachea. which branches into two bronchi. One is called the bronchus, and that each one goes into the lungs. Now, in the lungs, they further branch into bronchioles, and the end of it, you have the air sac, the alveoli, which I already mentioned is functioning in the video I did today. So the pulmonary artery will take blood into the lung, and the pulmonary vein takes blood away from the lungs. Okay, you have the lungs itself surrounded by the rib cage. That's a quick overview, as that question says. And then the pacemaker. Now, the heart has its own natural pacemaker. What it does is it sends signals to the heart muscles to help them to contract at the right time, because the heart is about contracting and relaxing, obviously, but when it contracts, it pushes blood out of the heart. So that's very important. If the heart muscles does not contract well and at the right time, there is a problem. Some people might have a problem with their natural pacemaker, and an artificial one can be fitted by medically to enable that function of the heart to carry on. Question 38 is to just quickly mention about the adaptations, as it were, of the arteries and veins. Now, the arteries have very strong and elastic walls because they have to carry blood at very, very high pressure. So these walls are thick. Because they are so thick, there is a very tiny hole in the middle, which is called the lumen. The veins, however, do not carry blood at such a high pressure. Therefore, they have thin walls, and they therefore have a wider lumen. Now, capillaries are interesting. Capillaries is a mesh of blood vessels, like a network of blood vessels. They have to carry the blood really close to where they are needed, to the cells and places where they're needed in the body. You know, they're for gas exchange and nutrient exchange and removal of waste. So the blood, the capillaries are very, very thin. They are so thin they can't be seen easily. They are very, very thin, and the arteries branch into capillaries, and capillaries sort of regroup into veins. They take blood really, really close to cells of the body. And then the question 39 says, what is coronary heart disease? Now, coronary arteries, they are the arteries of the heart. Heart itself is an organ, remember? The heart is an organ, therefore, it requires its own supply of oxygen. Now, the coronary arteries, they are the ones that carry blood to the heart. Sometimes they can become blocked. They can have a thick layer of cholesterol or fatty deposit, and they become blocked, and they no longer supply oxygen and nutrients to the heart as they should, and that can lead to a condition known as coronary heart condition or coronary heart disease. Now, this disease is caused by, can be made worse by smoking, because the question 40 says what can be done about it. So it's made worse by smoking, drinking, poor exercise, eating food that's very high in saturated fats. So if somebody was to come in and have this problem with coronary heart disease, a few things can be done. Number one, good life, a change in life choices. That is no smoking, no drinking much, then more exercise, eating healthily. Those things would help a lot. However, if they are very already blocked, there are some medical solutions. For example, a stent is actually used when the arteries have been blocked. Now, what they would do, they will stretch the blocked artery, they will put a stent into it so that the flow of blood can increase. And then you also have statins, S-T-A-T-I-N-S. Yeah, they are drugs that can help to lower blood cholesterol. And if all of that does not work, there is also a bypass. So a coronary heart bypass can be done. I think that is if the damaged coronary arteries cannot be revived through other means. So what they do, they find the position where the artery has been blocked, and they would take an artery from any other part of the body, the leg or from wherever. They will attach it before and after where the blocked artery is, and it's a surgical procedure, and that's called a bypass, and that person can have their blood flowing to the heart and taking the oxygen and nutrients the heart needs to it again. All right, that is the 4th of 10 videos. I'm gonna do all of them tonight before I sleep and get ready for school tomorrow morning. I'm getting such positive feedback. I'm so wide awake. I'm gonna complete all of these videos before I sleep because I know you can. I told you this was possible. See you shortly.